Today is Tuesday, August 26th, 2025, and it is Yom Shlishi, third day of the week, the second day of Elul, 5785, and it is the third day of Rabi al-Awwal on the Islamic calendar, which closely resembles the Hebrew calendar, and which I just started studying. And the weekly parsha is Shoftim, or Shoftim, depending on your pronunciation. And this is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, a calendar that combines several different calendars. It has solar and lunar calendars in it. It's a Daf Yomi calendar. Today's Daf Yomi is Avodah Zarah 69, page 69, although it's really the 68th page because the Talmud Bavli starts on page 2, all the tractates. And this work, I started it in 2012, around this time actually. It just turned 13 as of this month. It's dated to late summer of 2012, and I think as I remember, it was Elul time. So we just started Elul now of 2025, so it's 13 years old. And it went through many different phases and different viewpoints and philosophies on what exactly it is and what it's supposed to do. And I've explained it differently to different people all throughout these 13 years. And now, this summer, starting from July 1st this year, I started to present it every day in a way to streamline all the thoughts that I had about it and to really focus in on what it is, what it's supposed to do. In short, it's called a Gematriatic Thought Calendar. I don't know if there's anything else like it that's out there. I haven't seen anything or anyone talk about something like this, but it's a calendar that essentially is a tool that can help the Gematriatic process for people who enjoy Gematria and like Gematria, they feel that it's a viable form of gaining knowledge and understanding. This calendar is meant to, I think streamline is the word, streamline the process of Gematria. It's a system of data mining through Gematria and enhancing Gematriatic learning. And the basic premise of it, there are some rules to it, and the rules are followed, and it's a tool. It's used to see what's happening on a chronological level, Gematria. And it sounds, maybe it's hard to, so it's good. It might be good to get a few examples. As I said before, this is a lunar and solar calendar. Therefore, it holds the Gregorian calendar. The reason why it's August 26th today is it's a Gregorian. It also has the Julian calendar. The Julian calendar is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. So if it's August 26th today, so really it's August 13th in the Julian calendar. And it loses a few minutes every so often. I'm not sure the exact time, but every couple hundred years it loses like more than a day. For the next, for the last 100 or so years, 120 years maybe, since 1900 I think, or maybe 1915, up until the year 2099, it's going to be, from what I read, 13 days behind. And after that, it slowly drifts more. It might lose a day after that. But as of now, and for whatever this is going to be useful for, it's going to be 13 days. On the Gregorian calendar, it's August 26th, of course, and August 26th on this calendar would be box number 21. I should mention that there's something called the event, and it's the second event. Event is like it's another time measurement system. But it's like it's to use the word recursive is probably a good way of describing it. It's quantum as well. It's recursive, and it is self-referencing. Maybe that's what, and it's meta. Meta is self-referencing, and that's what it is. It's basically one simple recursive, probably would be a good word to describe it. That it does the same thing over and over again, but just in different contexts, in a fractal kind of a way that processes information. It's processing information in a repeated form, in a cyclic form, and in a fractal, it changes just a little bit, and it creates new patterns, and then starts to make cycles itself. So basically, what that means is that, let's just say it's a cycle of 22. The 22 are 22 characters. It could be 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the basic letters, not counting the sophites, just the basic sounds, and not the soft and hard letters. Like, let's say it's a bet and a vet, that's counted as one letter, or a shin and a sin, that's just one letter, because it's the same shape. So there's basically 22 shapes of original letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and those are the 22 energies in the cycle. And some say that there were 22, mystically speaking, because I don't know if there's an exact anyone who could count this, but there are those who say that there in Jacob's ladder, in his dream, there were 22 rungs on the ladder, and some say it's 15. It could be both, because it's just a matter of how you explain it. It's in the spiritual world. It's whatever how you understand it. So if you understand 22, then it has 22 rungs. If you understand 15, it has 15 as well. 15 can correlate to the 15 different Song of Ascents in Psalm 120 or so 121 till 130 something, 135, 34, around there. And so today, 21 is there's a lot of things are lining up now. It's also the open 21. There's a book by the Ramchal, Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, called The 138 Gates of Openings of Wisdom, and I started reading that 21 days ago. And the events are closely related to the, I'm sorry, not 21 days ago, 22 days ago, 22 days before today, and today is the 21st open. So it would correspond to, let's just say, it's 21, okay, then 22, and 22 is 1, which is like Aleph is Taf, and then the next one is going to be 2. So that would correspond to like 20, 23. 20, 22, 21. 21 is 22, say, and then 23. So today on the calendar we're on box 21, and we're on the 21st open of that. So that's really amazing. I didn't plan it that way, and it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that were the case, it wouldn't be so interesting. But it goes by 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9, and it cuts off at 40. So that's really interesting. Here's another rule in the system that's called the rule of 40. That means that if it's 21, it's considered the same box as 61, as 101, 141, 181, 2,000,021, because it's in the same box. That's the rule. So if you do that, it's a great way of learning gematria, because let's say I'm in 21, right? And I want to think of a lot of different gematrias. So but they have to be in order. It's not just random. If you just try to think about gematrias too much, you won't know. I mean, from my understanding, you have to have a focus, because if you're just all over the place, and you're just like, I'll translate this, Baruch Atah Hashem, what does that equal? And you can go crazy like that, It's like, then basically it's too much. then you can really, it can actually cause a little bit of mental nuttiness, because you spend just time just translating everything, and then you're not really getting everything. This keeps it focused and keeps it limited. So let's say I'm in box 21, yeah? So that means I have choices now of everything that's plus 40, and put a cap onto it. Let's say limit it to 1,000. So now you have 21, right? So I have 61. I have to think about what's 61. Ani. That's equals to 61, regularly gematria. Ani, how about 101? 101 could be Hamon. Hamon means much, a lot. Or Michael, it's 101. And that's 141. 141 is 101, and then plus 40 is 141. So that's Ein Od. Ein Od, right? So Ein is 61, and Od is 80. So that's 141, right? So Ein Od, like we say in Elaine with you, that's the same line. So Ein Od 141 is considered 21, and it goes up and up. So it was 141. But now, let's say you want to start, because 200 is basically 5 40s, so you can just keep on adding 200 every time. And you don't have to like count each 40. You just go like this. Let's see, 141 is 341, is 541, is 741, is 941. Now you have all those lines to choose from. If you're going on the odd numbers, let's say. When the even numbers is very easy. 21 is just 221, 421, 621, 821. Which is interesting. 821 equals Achashverosh. And who was in the story of Achashverosh? Esther. And someone named Esther came up today. In my own personal life. I'm saying maybe someone else. It's meant to be universal, so maybe. That's in this line. Esther is 661. That means if you take 21, you keep adding. I'll make sure I get that right. 21, 61, 101, 141, 181, 221, yeah, 261, 661, yeah. So good. So 661 is what Esther equals, but also Achashverosh equals 821. It's the same line, see? 21, if you go up in the even hundreds, it's going to be 21, 221, 421, 61, 821, and then 1021. Which is the Back to the Future day, 1021 of 2015, right? Back to the Future, or October 21st of 20, it's Back to the Future day. But that's totally beside the point. Esther and Achashverosh are connected. And that's in box 21, which is today. But what I came up with something interesting, and I never saw this before. I looked at my gematria database. I found in Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 9, is a very interesting expression. It's talking about the prophecy that Ezekiel was saying to the king of Egypt, and then he starts talking about Assyria. In Assyria, there was a cedar in Lebanon, beautiful branches, etc. This beautiful tree and rivers flows around this planting, and canals goes on to describe this tree. And what it says about this tree, which is pretty gutsy, I don't know gutsy, but like it's going pretty far to say, and it's probably just an expression, but this is what is written in the verse. It says, no tree in the garden of God equaled it in its beauty. That's a tall order. That's a big responsibility to say that no tree in the garden of God equaled its beauty. I mean, first of all, we're talking about on earth. So it could, again, granted, it could just be an expression, but so in verse 9 it says, I made it beautiful with its many tendrils, and all the trees of Eden, which are in the garden of God, envied it. So again, it's probably just hyperbole, but still, and the words kol atzei Eden Asher Began HaElohim equals 941, which is a derivative of this same box. So that's just to give you an example. So that's how I would remember that verse. I go, Kol Atzei Eden Asher Began HaElohim. And then you would know that that's a descendant of 21. It happens to be 941. It's called descendants, and this is called the patriarch, or the ancestor. The ancestor is 21, and it has many children ad infinitum, as far as you can go. 2,021,000,000,000 is a great ancestor, a great descendant of 21. Because 21 plus 40 is 61. 61 is its first descendant, and then its next descendant after that, its grandchild is like 101, and then its great-grandchild is 141, its great-great, and so forth. But one of its grandchildren on its downline is going to be 941. If you take 21 and you keep adding 40s, you're going to come to the number 941. Very simply, because look, 21 plus 40 is 61, plus 40 is 101, plus 40 is 141, and then just go by 200s. 141, 341, 541 is Israel, 741, and now 941. 941, if you put that in the calculator, you're going to come to this phrase, Kol Eitz Began HaElohim. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Kol Atzei Eden Asher Began Elohim. I just said all this to give you an example of how this calendar is supposed to work with gematria. It's supposed to hold all the gematrias next to each other, and they're concentrated. And they're concentrated, and since it follows rules, you can't blur the lines. You have to keep it like 21. What's in this box has to stay in its descendant line. Okay, that's all for 26th of August. There's more things, but I always forget all the amazing things that I see during the day, and I only record a small fraction of what's really I'm remembering and processing by looking at this. But anyway, 21, also 12 and 21 are next to each other here, and they can also be seen backwards and forwards too. That's one of the rules of the calendar. Today is the second day of Elul, so it will be box 32, and it's the third day of Rabi Alawal, and on the Islamic Hijri calendar, year 1447. And that would be 40. I'm not sure how that ties into today, but 32 is like saying 72. It's like saying 112, 152, 192, 392, 592, 792, 992. Anyone who's using this should know each one of those numbers that I said, and you should be able to say something that's in the Torah or Tanakh or Navi or something or halacha or Gemara, let's just say any expression in the Talmud, Kam Leimin D'Rabbim, let's say, or Tefasta Meruba Lo Tefasta, any well-known Talmudic Mishnaic axiom can be translated into numbers, and these numbers. Okay, it just came up to me now. Another rule is that the purple and violet they can merge to one box. So the number 263 came up today. This number I remember exactly as I went 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago. I was here in Jerusalem, and I went to the post office, and my number was 263. Yeah, and that number came up today, and as I'm looking, and I think this is the first time I went into that post office since then. Just think about that. 10 and a half years ago, and I went into that post office, and my number to ticket to the wait while I was waiting, 263, and the next time I went, 10 and a half years later, I'm in box rectangle 23 and 32, which is a descendant, is going to be 263. So that's really amazing. It really takes the time aspect out of it. That came up today. 263 came up, and but really today is box 32. So I mean, 23, it's next to it, but the rule is that you can merge the two. 32, 72, 112, 152, 192, 232, 432. Okay, 832 is Eretz Yisrael. It's also equals Hashem Ish Milchama Hashem Shemo. It equals also Shabbatenu, I think. Nishbati. I'm not sure about the last two, but it's really good. Hashem Ish Milchama Hashem Shemo. God is a man of war. God is His name. Is equal to Eretz Yisrael. Hebrews 8:32, which is 4 times Yitzchak, 208 times 4, and that's the idea. I think this is, you got the idea of how this is supposed to work.